Hi, chat. Morning. About 1,000 comments off of Duels from the Deep today. Why would you do that? Okay, why do people buy commons? I'm curious. Why do people just like buy bulk commons? Like stores, I get it, because like you always need those bulk commons. Buying sealed product is buying mostly bulk commons. Yeah, but you buy it for like a big ass price too. That's crazy. I mean, I just don't agree with buying sealed product overall.
Oh yeah,
oftentimes you're paying a lot more than what you get. It is gambling, but it's a gamble that you know you're gonna lose most of the time. You know, it's a scratch off ticket, basically. Yeah, it pretty much is just like a scratch off ticket. It's not like there's like some countries that like outlaw like loot boxes in video games and stuff like that. Do you think they'll ever ban like card packs, TCG packs? I feel like it could be considered very similar. They'll consider it if they can't tax them enough. You really think this is a taxes thing? I mean, I guess money does talk, but there's a resale value and a physical product you get at the end of it. Wouldn't there being a resale value like be the primary reason why it would be outlawed? What are they called? CSGO loot boxes have resale value, but they're outlawed in some countries, right? Am I not wrong? Most of those countries stipulate you need to publish the odds of getting what? Then loot boxes Shadow are fully legal? Really? It's not gambling if you can get them for free in a tourney? No, obviously. Obviously. Resale value isn't accounted for regarding physical cards, otherwise Konami would make fairer ratios. But I don't think it's a Konami thing. I think it's a government per country thing, is it not? There is a resale value, but it's still gambling. It's also aimed at a younger audience. Yeah, that's the thing. Because like these packs, don't these packs literally say that they're for like children ages 3 to 15? Age range in OCG is 12 and up. TCG is 6 and up. Now that should mean something. Any form of gamba is illegal in certain places. For this one mobile gacha game I play, people in Belgium can't buy the in-game currency. Gambling, TCG packs. Let me see if there's anything about this. An article about is Magic the Gathering gambling featuring legal cases. I kind of want to read this. You guys want to give this a read? Is Magic the Gathering gambling featuring legal cases? I've been cracking open Magic the Gathering booster packs over 10 years and the feeling never seems to get old, but I never once thought of it as gambling. With more people talking about this topic, I thought it would be best to take a bit of a deeper look at whether Magic the Gathering is gambling or not. How old is this article? I'm curious. It's fairly long. Do we have a date on this? I'm not sure. Magic the Gathering is not gambling.
Oh yeah, that field center with the big titties is very
This guy didn't even give any facts or anything. He just says, no, it's not. Smile. That's the whole article there. Boom. The article concludes right here. Wizards of the Coast does not assign a monetary value to individual cards and sells what is advertised on card packs. Magic doesn't advertise potential monetary gain decided mainly by chance, but some governments still choose to apply gambling laws to MTG. That's actually a pretty interesting thing. Hold up. This article is from March 2015.
Love you,
That's fairly old, but I feel like it's still fairly relevant. Because in 2015, we had loot boxes in games, right? But that was very old. So is the logic behind this that it's not considered gambling because Magic the Gathering doesn't advertise these cards which have a certain value, as opposed to advertising these cards, you can attribute them whatever value you wish? Is that where the difference is? That's why they acknowledge TCG player? Oh, they can't acknowledge TCG player? But doesn't Magic the Gathering have like some sort of like implemented rule that they cannot reprint cards in a way that might make an older print of the card lose value until a couple of years later? Don't they have like a buyer protection kind of thing like that? They have the reserved list? Yeah, so what's the point of having a reserved list if not to maintain resale value of cards? Is that not the reason to have this reserved list? Or is the reserved list just to let you know ahead of time that if you want these cards, they won't be reprinted anytime soon? That's because it was a result of player complaints. Yeah, but I feel like though the company making that reserve list is them acknowledging the value of their cards. Important to note that currently there are many aspects of different mediums that combine to make up what we generally consider to be Magic the Gathering today. Even though as a whole, Magic the Gathering isn't defined as gambling as of this moment, some of the individual aspects present in MTG's competitive play and newer promotional behavior by Wizards of the Coast should be looked at further. I'm by no means a lawyer, but investigating these different elements should help anyone to understand why there may be some cause for concern and why some governments are considered labeling Magic the Gathering as gambling. Defining gambling for Magic the Gathering. When discussing whether parts of Magic the Gathering is or isn't gambling, we need to make sure we are all on the same page when it comes to what we mean by the word gambling, which is easier said than done. I feel like I would categorize the word gambling as investing some sort of currency or some sort of thing to which you attribute a monetary value for a random chance at gaining something that is better than what you invested into it. In the sense that, like, you could be gambling with cards, you could be gambling with money, as long as you're investing something with a random chance of receiving something that is greater than your investment. In a perfect world, we could simply look up the word gambling in the dictionary and we get these semantic definitions. Play games of chance for money. Bet. Take risky action in hope of a desired result. Which aren't very helpful. These definitions are extremely broad and vague. If we were to use these definitions of Magic the Gathering, could definitely be considered gambling, but so would asking someone out on a date, according to number 2. Not exactly what we are looking for. Yeah, asking someone out on a date is a bet, dude. Gamba. Gamba! If we just skip to the legal definition of what's considered gambling with regards to gaming, then we get something a little better defined. The act or practice of gambling, an agreement between 2 or more individuals to play collectively at a game of chance for a stake or wager, which will become the property of the winner, and to which all involved make a contribution. I feel like this is genuinely fair. Like, that's a fair definition. This is far more useful than our previous definitions when trying to work out if MTG is gambling, but even with there's a big problem. Since 1990, gaming and gambling laws have changed frequently, potentially in response to the emergence of new technologies such as virtual reality and esports. Esports is gambling. You heard it here first. On top of this, every society decides what should be considered gambling in their own unique way, okay? In some countries, the same activities that are frowned upon are commonly accepted with ease in others. In situations like these, it is impossible to globally define what gambling truly is. Obviously, there won't be like a global answer to this. There's no one clear-cut definition that everyone in the world will agree to, which is why I think this is the kind of thing that is regulated by whatever your current government is. Fun fact, pachinko in Japan is widely seen as a kind of Japanese slot machine game. However, in Japan, despite gambling being illegal in the country, pachinko parlors are incredibly popular and common. The thing with pachinko is that isn't the way that they, like, bypass it. The pachinko machine, you win, like, tickets or some shit or balls, and you trade them for a prize, and you can either get, like, you know, stuffed animals or some shit, or you can get these plaques, and there are certain places in Japan that purchase those specific plaques for money, right? That's what it is, and that's how they dodge, like, it being gambling for money, because you're gambling for an arbitrary prize with no actual value attributed to them. However, certain places will buy those prizes off you for money, which isn't directly considered gambling. Let's take the legal definition of what we currently have for gambling while evaluating different aspects of Magic the Gathering. As a general rule, booster packs are not gambling. Booster packs don't advertise potential monetary gain when opened and contain disclosed content. Officially, all cards have the same monetary value independent of card type. Card values assigned by a secondary market aren't officially recognized. Even if there's a rarity system, really? I feel like there being a rarity system kind of contradicts this. Because, like, if there's a card, okay, I guess that what they're saying is, yeah, all the cards cost the same to, like, make, I suppose. But I don't agree that it's, you know, all really equal. However, not all Magic the Gathering booster packs are made and sold in the same way. Some of the practices that Wizards of the Coast publishers of the Magic the Gathering have engaged in recently with their booster packs may be cause for concern. When looking at a regular booster pack, it contains 16 cards, 15 playing cards, and 1 marketing card or token. Of those 15 cards that are within the pack, you are guaranteed to receive a basic land, 10 common cards, 3 uncommon cards, and 1 rare or mythic rare card. Comparison with Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you get, like, it's like, what, 8 cards? You get like 6 commons, a rare, and then a super, ultra, or secret. Additionally, there's a chance for one of the standard cards to be replaced with a foil card that could be of any rarity. Many individuals and even some regulatory agencies think that Magic the Gathering booster packs should be considered gambling. They argue that players are spending a certain amount of money hoping to get cards that are more monetarily valuable than the amount of money they spent on buying the booster pack, which I feel people do a lot. Have you guys ever purchased a booster box of Yu-Gi-Oh! And told yourself, I need to pull Triple Tactics Talent or I go minus. I need to pull this card or I go minus. I know I have. There are commons with more than epics on the market, so they can say everything is equal. It's only third-party markets that make the difference. But again, I guess you can consider that that is a secondary market type of thing and not directly in the product. This notion is slightly misleading as it takes a few incorrect assumptions about the majority of Magic the Gathering players and their relationship with the company Wizards of the Coast. The majority of MTG players do not open booster packs with the primary intention of finding high monetary value cards to then resell on the secondary market. If the sentence stops here, it's wrong. Everyone that opens booster packs opens them with the primary intention. Well, the majority of people that open booster packs open them with the primary intention of finding the high monetary value cards. Yes, the primary attraction to opening a pack or a box is that you could get the chase card. However, not everyone is trying to resell it on the secondary market. Most players open booster packs to use the cards in draft, build decks, or trade with other player cards needed for their collection, the primary intended purpose of collecting trading card games. Okay, but at the end of the day, this is just the Japan pachinko thing. It's like, oh, yeah, you're chasing the card that's worth a lot, but instead of selling it for money, you're trading it with other people for other high-value cards. We do need to acknowledge that, yes, players who consider themselves part of the MTG finance community do exist. These buyers and sellers on Magic the Gathering's secondary market with a focus on making a profit claim their auctions are similar to individuals that buy and sell stocks on the stock market, which I've already said fits my definition of gambling. It might not fit everyone's definition of gambling, but the stock market, in my opinion, is gambling. It's like educated gambling. Okay, so are you saying that someone who counts cards in blackjack is performing educated gambling? I would say it's equally as much gambling, you know what I mean? While this behavior could definitely raise the eyebrows of some concerned about gambling, the small population of people by no means represent the larger community of Magic the Gathering players as a whole. That is true for Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. Technically, Wizards of the Coast do not assign any monetary or nominal value to any of their cards. Nominal value. What does nominal mean? English not my first language. Does that basically mean like a monetary value of a price or amount of money? Okay, fair. Yes and no. I feel like this is wrong based on the fact that there's card rarities. Like, yeah, they obviously don't say like, oh, this card is going to be worth $75 on release, but they still give these cards like a rarity system. It's the player base that assigns cards an intrinsic value and drives the price of cards either up or down, creating their own market for the card. Furthermore, when we look at gambling at a casino, when you purchase a lottery ticket, the result of winning has a defined monetary value assigned by the governing body in charge of the competition or game. Not necessarily. We've already determined that loot boxes in video games are gambling, but a loot box in a video game will give you a skin, I don't know, a new something aesthetic that you could put, like, none of that has a monetary value assigned to it. Don't you mean surprise mechanics? What do you mean by surprise mechanics? I need to ask this question. Do you guys feel like there is a large difference between a loot box in a video game and a Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster pack? I feel like if there is a difference, it is minute. And the only difference, in my opinion, is that one of them is purely aesthetic, the other has an actual influence on how you play the game. So by that definition, what you pull or what you trade for influence how good your deck is and how you play their game. Being able to resell cards is a huge difference, but wouldn't that make it more gambling? It's not the same as MTG booster packs. It is the players themselves that assign a value to individual cards, not Wizards of the Coast, who officially stated all cards have the same monetary value. This is madcap. For a company to say, yes, all of our cards have the exact same monetary value is insanely cap. It would be more of a gamble that way because you have to buy even more packs to get what you want, meaning you have to risk a lot more money for each rare card. But every card has the same monetary value, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know. This genuinely feels like them just covering their ass rather than like being serious about this topic. This feels like insane cap. They do. Players created the market. No, I understand that players created the market, but at the end of the day, when Konami prints a card as a fucking secret rare, they are fully aware that that card is going to be a lot more valuable to the player base than a random common. Is it gambling if you buy cases? Because to some extent, the content of the cases are predictable. Well, no, I think it's still gambling if you buy cases because at the end of the day, it's like saying, yo, are you still gambling if you buy 1,000 loot boxes instead of 2 of them? You will get probably everything you want, but you're still not guaranteed it. Why are Magic the Gathering premium booster packs expensive? Generally speaking, Magic the Gathering booster packs are not considered gambling. However, issues start to arise when you look at new promotional practices done by Wizards of the Coast. Oh. Promotional booster packs such as Modern Master Series, which contain the exact same amount of cards as a normal booster pack, but priced at $3 more. Nice price. Here's where it gets a little bit confusing as to how Wizards of the Coast can justify the extra cost associated with these so-called premium booster packs if they're not adding extra cards to each pack. They claim that all cards in their eyes have the same monetary value, so why are these 15 cards $3 more expensive than a normal booster pack? If they stand by that claim and truly don't acknowledge the values associated with their cards from the secondary market assigned by the players themselves, then it seems a little odd for Wizards to come out with packs that contain the same amount of cards, but a higher price point. That's very true. How much cheaper are the booster packs that have only 5 cards but have 4 ultras and a secret, as opposed to the packs that have 9 cards? Are they a lot cheaper or not really? Are there more holos in the pack? Well, apparently it being more holos or less holos doesn't change anything. Same price? So we come down to the same issue. Deck building packs only contain 5 cards each and sell for the same price, right? Do they MSRP same price? So if you go here, you go to products, booster packs, right? And we pull up, let's pull up something like Battle of Chaos and Grand Creators. So Battle of Chaos, MSRP, $4 per pack. Grand Creators, $3.99 per pack, 7 cards per pack. Already here we have a discrepancy, right? So at the end of the day, how can you say that the cards are all of the same monetary value if you have a booster that contains more cards at the same price? This is where things start to get a little bit sussy. Set size? Well, I mean, no, at the end of the day, we're not attributing a value to how many different cards are in the set. We are attributing a value to each individual piece of cardboard. In isolation, these so-called premium packs do follow the same rules as normal booster packs. The contents of the packs are declared and you do get what is advertised. So again, it would be hard to define this as gambling. However, it's fair to say Magic the Gathering is playing with fire. When you start to compare normal and premium booster packs with different price points, but the same amount of cards, it becomes difficult to believe that Wizards of the Coast truly don't acknowledge the presence of the secondary market and the value of their cards on it. In fact, some people and organizations find it too hard to believe and have tried to take legal action against trading card game companies claiming their products are a form of gambling. So, can anyone tell me what the difference is between a regular booster pack and a premium booster pack or booster box? In MTG, the premium product usually contains staples, reprints, high-value cards. So it's staples, reprints, there's better cards in them, and that is why they are sold for higher. Alright, let's talk about the Duel Links thing. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've never really played Duel Links, but I think I know the way they have their booster packs. In Duel Links, the way the booster packs function is you have a box. In a box, there is always the same amount of every card. If you go through the entire box, you will always pull the same number of every single card, correct? That is correct. Just throwing an assumption out there, I don't know if this is exactly how it works, but to put into perspective, every box would have a playset of every card. One of each is guaranteed. Is it just one of each, or is it not the entire ratio? There is one of each UR. Oh, there's one of every higher rarity card in a box. Okay, cool. And what you can do is you can pull one pack at a time, one pack at a time, one pack at a time, until you get that one high rarity card you want, and then you can reset the entire box. Would you consider that gambling if at the end of the day, if you want a card, you can simply buy the entire box? Or you can gamble on the fact of pulling it earlier. I feel like that's already a little bit less of a gamble, because at the end of the day, you know what the maximum amount you'll be spending in order to purchase that card is. So say to buy an entire box, it costs $200, then you know at most to get this one card you want, you are paying $200. So at the end of the day, they could just be putting a monetary value on that card you want and say, hey, that card you want, it's $200. But there is a possibility that you get it in less. So gacha isn't gamble since you are guaranteed it as well? No, because the thing is, there's no cap to a gacha game. Like, look, for example, right? Diablo Immortal Simulator. So, for those that don't know about Diablo Immortal, this is a Diablo Immortal Rift Simulator. In Diablo Immortal is a gacha game that has a gacha system where you can pull gems of specific rarities. What gems of a specific rarity represent is how good they are in the game. And a 5-star gem is extremely fucking rare to pull. Calculate the cost of a 5/5 gem. So this basically is a $25 Rift Simulator. So if you click on this, boom, it'll roll a spin. So there you go. I got a 3-star gem, no 5 stars. If I click on this, it will constantly roll it until I hit a 5 out of 5 gem. This is how much money has been spent so far. So as you can see, Diablo Immortal doesn't have what you might consider a pity system. In Diablo Immortal, you can keep going and going and going, and you could realistically never hit it. Yo, it cost me 4K! Some people have spent over 20 grand to get a 5-star gem. So in comparison, it is not that bad. What I'm saying with this, the difference between this and the Duel Links boxes is that in Duel Links boxes, you're guaranteed after a certain number of packs to get that card you want. As opposed to in this, if I roll it again, now it was 4K for one. It's not guaranteed 4K for like per. Like this might go beyond 4K, you know what I mean? You should become a Diablo Immortal streamer. Okay, dude. Dude! What? Wait, excuse me? That's not bad. Yo, streamer luck how, dude? Only 2,500, only 6.5k for 2 5-star gems. I think you need intervention. No, I say not bad in comparison to people that have spent like over 5, maybe even 6 figures on the game to get a single 5-star gem. You set the guaranteed value high enough so that the allure of pulling that high value thing at just a fraction of the cost compels people to throw money at it. I agree that it is predatory. I completely agree that it's predatory. However, I also think that there being a ceiling also lets people know what they are in for before they run it. Is Magic the Gathering considering gambling legally? At this moment, the widely held belief of the topic is that Wizards of the Coast were to officially acknowledge the difference in market value between cards, there would be grounds to classify Magic the Gathering as gambling. Why? If Wizards of the Coast were to claim that their cards have market value, they would be forced to acknowledge or admit that opening booster packs are in essence gambling for goods of higher value, often referred to as chase cards in trading card game communities. The fact that it is widely agreed upon that sets have chase cards and people do open them for a chance at a higher value of what they invested, the fact that the company itself does not acknowledge it exempts them from all legal binding, that's interesting to me. Why is it Magic's responsibility to admit that? We all fucking know that's how it works, so that's how it should be. Yeah, that's the thing. It seems odd to me that despite everyone that plays the game, everyone that watches other people play the game, people that are involved in the game in some way, all know this. But the creator of the game is like, oh, no, all our cards have the same value. Exempts them from any legal binding to this? That's very strange. However, previous court cases around trading card games may suggest that the official acknowledgement of Wizards of the Coast on this matter may not be needed. We all know the importance of gaming laws, but this is the one that often slips under the radar. The important part is whether an element of chance determines who wins money or something of value. The value part plays a key role in determining whether or not a game falls into gambling legislation. One of the few published instances of a lawsuit being filed against a trading card game in connection with gambling involves baseball cards. I feel like the baseball card market or sports cards as a whole is so much different than like TCGs that are meant to be played. If there's like, you have a baseball card of a player, that player is never getting like banned, and you're like, damn, the value of my Babe Ruth just went down because Babe Ruth got banned from Major League Baseball, you know what I mean? The lawsuit offers some insight as to whether or not the trading card game Magic the Gathering may be legally considered gambling in the future. There's absolutely people who see this game as an investment, though. There are, I agree. But it feels like with baseball cards or sports cards as a whole, it feels like that's like the majority of people's opinion on it. Schwartz versus Upper Deck Company. In the U.S. federal case Schwartz versus Upper Deck held in California, a case was brought against the card game company Upper Deck Co. with the intent to sue them on the grounds of alleged gambling activity. You can definitely play Ronaldo OTKs. You! The crux of this legal battle rested on the idea that trading card games are in fact gambling and can therefore be subject to legal claims being made. The court made a few key conclusions, one being that a trading card company's intentions or the absence of their official condoning of a secondary market is irrelevant. Plaintiffs adequately allege that the chase cards have a cash value readily ascertainable in the secondary market, which makes them a valuable prize. I think when a card is a secret rare, you already know this card has some form of monetary value right out the gate, as opposed to, I don't know, like sometimes like a short print rare like Sunlight Wolf that happen to have value, but it's not immediately ascertainable. That value can also tank to almost nothing overnight too, which is also some form of gambling, but one that isn't Konami's fault per se, other than the fact that Konami know that when they ban a card or if they reprint a card, it drops in value. Hence why Magic the Gathering has a reserve list, which I think increases the opinion that people have of it being gambling. Here, despite that Wizards of the Coast insists about Magic the Gathering cards having all the same monetary value, the court agrees that a strong argument can be made that some cards are in fact more valuable than others due to their secondary market. And just like Wizards of the Coast would, the trading card company Upper Deck pushes back against this notion during the court case, stating that they are not linked to the secondary market. I was going to paraphrase the quote below as it is a bit long, but the court sums up their entire point so perfectly that I just had to leave it all in. Defendant argues that the fact that people in the secondary market will pay cash for these cards is beyond Upper Deck's control. This argument is disingenuous disingenuous. The manufacturers of trading cards are inextricably linked to the secondary market. The relative numbers of cards produced by manufacturers has a direct effect on their value in the secondary market. In order to inflate the value of cards on their secondary market, manufacturers produce the most popular cards in limited numbers. Simple supply and demand economics dictates that high demand coupled with low availability will cause the price to skyrocket. When the price of cards on the secondary market rises, it allows the manufacturers to charge more for their sealed packages of cards. The more the chase card is worth, the more people are willing to pay for the chance of receiving a valuable chase card. That makes a lot of sense. For those of you that didn't know this, in case you weren't aware, this is also a thing with Konami. When Konami sends out their, the next set of cards to be printed by a printer or a manufacturer, whatever you want to call it, the manufacturer receives the print list, the list of like the cards that need to be made, with a specific number of every card that needs to be printed. Say we reduce it to a very limited number of cards, and we'll be told, okay, you need to print, so we're gonna create our own arbitrary set. Okay, chat? We are creating coders from a distance. All right. So they receive the set list for coders from a distance. And in coders from a distance, they'll be given, the list of cards they need to print. So they'll be told you need to print 10,000 Starlight Rare Ash Blossoms. You need to print 10,000 Starlight Rare Decode Talkers and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And then they're told you need to print 25,000 secret rare generator boss stages, and you need to print 25,000 microcoders and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They are told a specific number of every individual card they need to print. That is how Konami works with their distributors, with their manufacturers, I should say. If the cards really have no value over each other, there wouldn't be such strict rules about what the printers can do with overprints. Yes, exactly. That's where issues like these arise, right? Because the company that is outsourcing their manufacturing to a manufacturer are specifically telling that manufacturer how many of every card they want to be printed. So they are manually deciding how much of every card is out there. Not only is the above quote hugely damaging to the idea that as long as the Magic the Gathering doesn't acknowledge the secondary market, it can't be considered gambling, but it also touches on our conversation about premium packs. Sets like Modern Masters not only charge more money for booster packs that contain the same amount of cards, but they also print these sets in limited quantities. Ooh. Well, I mean, no, every set's going to be printed in limited quantities. If they specifically market it as, yo, there's only 1,000 of these available, boom. Instantly, they get fucked. Newest Magic set had a collector's pack. The MSRP is for $90 Canadian. That's crazy. Arguable with the intent to make them artificially scarce and increase the price they can charge, something that the court also points out. If the manufacturers were truly out to sell people cards containing their favorite players, they would produce large numbers of cards of the most popular players. This way, everyone who buys a pack of cards will be almost guaranteed to receive the cards they desire. Instead, by manufacturing cards of the most popular players in limited quantities, purchasers are required to buy many more packages of cards in order to obtain the cards they desire. It's the same players because they're talking about baseball cards, but the same kind of thing can be said about Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But the big thing to consider about this specifically is the fact that they're putting an MSRP on a specific pack. However, they are printing in lower quantities cards that they know players want more of. It's so rare that a chase card in a set will be a common or a rare. I think the last time I've ever seen that was fucking Dino Wrestler Pankratops. You have the Orcus stuff, which none of them were high rarity. Everything was low rarity in this. Nothing. Clock Dragon was a fucking ultra rare. You have the Colossus, I guess. Colossus was a chase card in this. I agree. Some of the Thunder Dragon stuff was higher rarity. I know this card was being chased a lot. The Summer Summoner was definitely a chase card. Let's see. Trap Trick wasn't really that sought after initially. Dangers, I guess Tsushinoko. Tsushinoko was money. People were looking for Pankratops. Vendors were buying every single copy of Dino Wrestler Pankratops they found. And that's the last time I can think of a set having a chase card that was not high rarity. It's clear to see that in the eyes of this court, regardless of whether or not Wizards of the Coast, the company who makes Magic the Gathering, do or do not consider buying a booster pack to be gambling under the law, it is irrelevant. Needless to say, if Wizards of the Coast were to acknowledge the market value of their cards, it would make it easier to make an argument that Magic the Gathering can be linked to gambling, but their official acknowledgement doesn't seem to be necessary. So slam dunk, right? Opening Magic the Gathering booster packs is actually gambling then? Not quite. This lawsuit seems to have spanned over 3 years, 1997 to 2000. Bro, this is old. In the year 2000, the lawsuit was dismissed along with any official gambling claims against a trading card company. Meaning, despite all the statements made by the court, they lacked the standing to push through the lawsuit, and no charges related to gambling could be made. There was one other racketeer-influenced and corrupt organization legal case I was able to find that tries to link trading card games to gambling. This one specifically names Wizards of the Coast in the legal suit. So, Chasset versus Fleer/Skybox Intel was a similar legal case to our previous lawsuit, but centered around Pokemon cards. Wait, is Wizards Pokemon as well? It used to be, but not anymore. Wizards of the Coast defends Pokemon cards in their position by stating that trading card games are different from collectible sports cards due to the value that trading cards have as game pieces within the game itself. I guess that's an interesting angle. I'm curious to see what they say about this. The court doesn't appear to comment on the validity of this defense, and unfortunately, just like our last lawsuit, the case was simply dismissed. The other side didn't have enough standing to demonstrate to the court sufficient connection to damages or harm they encountered to pursue the case any further. It would have been very insightful to know if the court would have sided with Wizards of the Coast and made a distinction between trading card games and collectible cards. Regardless, no legal consequence related to gambling and trading card games were made on both occasions, and we can't draw a definitive conclusion from it. For now, it's safe to say that Magic the Gathering booster packs are in the clear which regards to being considered gambling. However, it's clear from some of the above examples that might not always be the case, especially as Magic the Gathering continues to expand into the uncertain digital world with Magic the Gathering Arena. Is Magic the Gathering Arena considered gambling? So here we're talking basically about Master Duel. I love how this translates almost one-to-one with Yu-Gi-Oh! So now we're talking about effectively Master Duel. MTG Arena is another gray area that many players, fans, and onlookers have mixed feelings about. The concept of Arena is that you spend real currency to buy a virtual commodity called gems. You can use these gems to purchase booster packs, virtual sleeves, entries to MTG Arena competitions, and unlock mastery passes. The same concept of physical booster packs with regards to gambling can be applied to Arian's virtual booster packs. Oh, Arena's virtual booster packs. I was like, what is an Arian? But it's Arena, but misspelled. You receive what is advertised, and every card within that virtual booster pack is of the same monetary value regardless of in-game rarity. As we've seen already, a somewhat dubious defense of Magic the Gathering booster packs, however, in the case of Magic the Gathering Arena, it kind of works. There is no trading within Magic the Gathering Arena. True. This initially upset fans on the game's release and was viewed as an attempt of Wizards of the Coast to squeeze more money out of players to get the cards they wanted. If a game like MTG Arena or a game like Master Duel allowed you to trade cards, holy fuck, they would make so much less money. And the reason why is because, say, I pull, I pull like a Royal Rare Mardell, and Dyer pulls, you know, a Royal Rare fucking Unchained Soul of Disaster. I can just go, yo, Dyer, trying to trade? And Dyer will go, sure, trade. They got trading and they still make a fuck ton of money in FIFA. See, I don't know that much about FIFA, but the thing is they would have to regulate to some extent what you can and cannot do, because at the end of the day, you can make alt accounts, use the free gems you get on like doing all the tutorials, farm for whatever cards you want, then trade them to your main account. I know Pokemon TCG Online has trading, but I don't know how much money they make. How does the Pokemon TCG Online trading work? Because can't you only get cards on Pokemon TCG Online by buying real life packs? You have to buy real packs. You can't like... There's no in-game currency in Pokemon TCG Online, right? Free in-game cards can't be traded either. There's premium packs and untradeable ones. There is an in-game currency. I'm curious to see how that works then. They get the most from selling in-game currency that you can open packs with. That's hilarious. Now, while the above may still be true, when looking at the decision through the lens of this article, it may have been done to avoid future legal issues. If no trading is allowed in Magic the Gathering Arena, then the secondary market also does not exist. Without a secondary market to contradict Wizards of the Coast stance that every card has the same monetary value, the argument would appear to have more validity. I get where they're going with this, but I also don't agree with it. So here's the reason why I disagree with this stance here. If you look at the shop, if you're buying gems, gems do have a monetary value. So for almost 5,000 gems, it costs $110 Canadian. With these $110 Canadian, I can get anywhere between none. Well, I can't get no URs. I do get guaranteed URs if I pull packs, but I can realistically get like some amount between like maybe like 2 URs to like, you know, however many you can randomly pull if you're lucky. If you go to the deck builder here, you have crafting points.
Oh yeah,
and
field center with the
in
big
my
cities
opinion,
very
for MTG it might not be the same. I don't know how MTG Arena handles it, but the fact that you have different currencies to purchase different cards, I feel like they are effectively attributing a monetary value to certain cards. Look at this deck. This deck is full of fucking URs. This deck does not monetarily, with in-game currency, cost you the same as an NR deck. So I really don't agree with this stance here of saying, oh, there's no secondary market, therefore not gambling because nothing has a monetary value attributed to it. I very much disagree. Everything does have a monetary value attributed to it. The only thing is that with gacha games, they make it incredibly difficult to figure out what monetary value you have attributed to either one of those gems. It's a product, not gambling. I don't agree. I do not agree, because we've established at this point that loot boxes are gambling. Loot boxes give you a product. So if loot boxes are gambling, despite the fact that they give you a product, then it's not a product. Yes, it is a product. It absolutely is a product. If you spin a loot box in Overwatch, you get a skin. A skin is a product. The same way that if I open a 10 pack in this by buying gems, I pay for gems, I spend it in there, and I get cards, it is a product. It 100% is a product. While it doesn't have value for profit purposes, it does give you an in-game advantage. That's what you're gambling for. Yeah, so say this comes right back to Diablo Immortal. In Diablo Immortal, if you whale the fuck into this game, you end up making a character that is unfucking beatable. One thing that is less well known is that there are individuals that build up Magic the Gathering Arena accounts and then sell them off, a discussion that probably deserves its very own article. The thing is, this isn't something you can take into account because this is not allowed by the TOS of the game. And because it's not allowed by the TOS of the game, then the company itself and the creators of the game are at no fault if people are building up accounts, gambling, getting up like, you know, an account with like a bunch of crazy cards and then selling it. It's not the company's fault because they themselves do not allow this. Wizards of the Coast could easily look to take proactive measures against this and publicly condemn this practice, claiming it's in violation of the terms and conditions. Every game does this. Account sharing, account selling is not allowed. With other online games such as CSGO coming under fire due to their skin system, which gave players the chance to randomly receive valuable in-game items that they could trade and sell on a secondary market, it comes as no surprise why MTGA wants to avoid similar issues. The problem with this solution is that although it potentially gets rid of the secondary market issue for Wizards of the Coast, there isn't much, if anything, that now separates Magic the Gathering booster packs on Arena from loot boxes. And this is a really, really, really important topic. And the reason why it's a very important topic is because loot boxes have been deemed to be gambling in multiple countries. There is an even higher risk that Wizards of the Coast might get in hot water because gambling laws recently have had an increased focus on how to deal and classify the video game loot box system. Several countries have started cracking down on loot boxes in video games as unlicensed gambling. The irony for Wizards of the Coast is that game developers in general tend to claim in their defense of loot boxes that they're not gambling because they're similar to trading card boosters. Isn't that fucking crazy? Booster boxes are like, well, no. It's like, you know, it's like the loot boxes. You know, it's not the same thing. And then loot boxes are like, well, no, but like, it's like trading card boosters. That's not gambling. As some countries continue to reject that argument, there is a chance regulatory agencies will return their attention to trading cards and conclude that if they just prohibited loot boxes, then they should also potentially consider doing the same for trading cards. Legally speaking, the world is still in the middle of trying to decide what it plans to do about loot boxes in games, but we can be sure whatever decision ends up being made will impact the world of trading card games in some way. From what I'm understanding, the world is very much on like a unified agreement that loot boxes are a no-no and that we don't want them no more. Even Overwatch. In Overwatch 2, like, there's no more loot boxes. The loot box system is just gone. Just completely removed from Overwatch 2. Are Magic the Gathering tournaments considered gambling? Ooh, this is the argument that Farfar brought up before, saying that, like, prize cards are bad and stuff like that. prize cards are bad and stuff like that because it's basically like a poker tournament. I'm glad they added this into the article. In general, Magic the Gathering tournaments aren't considered to be gambling as it is not classified as a game of chance. However, governments such as Germany view tournaments as gambling, as MTG competitive events can only be attended by people who are 18 years or older. Really? In Germany, you cannot attend a Magic the Gathering tournament unless you're 18 or older? That doesn't sound real. This is why Wizards of the Coast does not hold or sanction any Grand Prix tournaments in countries such as Germany. So, wait. Is it specifically Grand Prix tournaments? Let's look this up. What exactly is the reason there are no Grand Prix events in Germany? It recently occurred to me that GPs are no longer held in Germany. I read that is partially due to gambling laws, such as limiting the entry fee to 10 euros, as well as not allowing cash payouts. Wouldn't this be circumventable? I'm not sure what typical entry fee is. I read around $40, but isn't this mostly used to buy the product used and only a part of it goes to the venue? If the entry fee is restricted, couldn't you say, sure, you can enter for 10 euro, but you'll have to purchase your pool as well for 30 euro and you're done? I'm surprised I don't see a problem with giving out the equivalent in booster boxes / cases to be sold by the winner. I don't see much difference in the GP being a slightly more expensive pre-release. This was 6 years ago, by the way. It is gambling law which basically says that if it costs more than 15 euro entry and there are prices for performing, you can't allow minors to participate. This is, for example, why at pre-release, where I play, everyone got 2 packs no matter the performance. I don't know if your pre-release is different, but that's the thing that people run, my LGS told me. If you can win cash, it's 18 plus in Germany. Okay, so that's probably what they mean. I feel like they worded this a little bit poorly. Grand Prix isn't a thing anymore. I don't know. Again, I'm reading this as a Yu-Gi-Oh player. I have no idea about the majority of how Magic tournaments are run and stuff like that. We can argue again that even though players enter a tournament via an entry fee and receive a random draft booster, depending on what competition and format, it is still a game or sport with an outcome not being decided primarily by chance. Debatable, but I understand what they're saying. From my years of experience playing and entering Magic the Gathering tournaments, I think most players would agree that there is a degree of luck involved in playing, but your skill as a player will be the main deciding factor across most of your games. I can agree with that. I can agree. Players have to make their decks and compete with other players to advance through stages of varying player difficulty to end up the winner through skill. Some facts that go into Magic the Gathering are, yeah, obviously, deck building, sideboarding, bluffing, Monk of W, we don't do that in Yu-Gi-Oh! Reading opponents, psychological warfare, holy shit, man. Magic the Gathering is literal, like, fucking combat, trial by combat. Theory and situational context, and more. Yes, I agree. Even though a player may be lucky in terms of top decking a card, their chances are slim if they do not have the adequate skill to play MTG at a competitive tournament level. Even though we've been able to somewhat define gambling and how it relates to different areas of Magic the Gathering, the subject matter is ever changing. For now, I'm still inclined to refer to Magic the Gathering as technically not gambling, but I'm not sure it will stay that way for long. We can definitely agree that some trading card companies are using and manipulating their player base to make money through various schemes that look dangerously similar to common practices in gambling. This is very true. Simply short printing by itself is enough to outline and say that they are leaning towards, gambling and stuff like that. Even if Magic the Gathering were to be considered gambling in the future, I don't believe there's anything inherently wrong with that. It's important, though, that you are aware of the potential connection and, like most good things in life, you exercise moderation and don't overextend yourself financially when it comes to the hobbies you enjoy. Interesting. I want to pull this. After having talked about that, is booster packs gambling? 1 for yes, 2 for no. I want to hear what you guys think. All right, let me know. That's a very resounding yes. 92% of my Twitch chat believes that it is gambling. So that being said, I don't know if we need to, do something about it. You know what I mean? Something along the lines of, I don't know if it's gonna end up getting regulated by the government or stuff like that, or if it'll end up being companies will eventually be forced to guarantee. What if they guarantee that every box contains the same cards? Every single box, every box has the same cards. There's no more degree of chance anymore. If it wasn't gambling, the game would die. TCGs don't thrive without a collector's market. But at the end of the day, I feel like the collector's market isn't even with recent product. I feel like the collector's market is entirely based upon, OG cards, Reduce the worth of the product when you value same as others with lower use? I don't know. Make the cards always the same and the chase card is a random chance for any card to be a Starlight. Yeah, like, what if every card was the same rarity, but they also all come super and secret? How about that? Still gambling? It is still gambling, but at the end of the day, anyone that wants to acquire the cards can do so. One thing that's for sure, 91% of my chat believe that it is indeed gambling. I actually think we've exhausted the topic, and I don't really know if there's really much more to say about it. So anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Is opening booster packs gambling, or is it not gambling? I want to hear your opinion, so let me know. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace!